Hey guys, Crystal here from the Real Recovery Podcast. I have a question for you, or for those of you who are in recovery. What has been the biggest surprise to you out of everything? Like, what have you learned about yourself that kind of shook you? What features of yourself started to really show 8 weeks post, 10 weeks post? What portions of you from old life, before addiction, started to come through? And what features did you have to let go? I know for me, I'm kind of shook at how chill I am. I always think people who I went to high school with and I was really good friends with, like my friend Mel. I had a friend named Mel. I really liked Mel. I still like Mel. Anyway, I would venture to say that Mel would probably describe me as brooding, cynical, hilarious, charming, but brooding and cynical for sure. That was like 22 plus years ago, maybe. Now I'm this incurable optimist. I'm not tightly wound anymore, which I never thought that would not be a feature of me. I've learned that not everything needs or deserves a response. Not many things are worth my time. And that might sound a little cold, but it's my truth. I've also discovered my love for adventures. Growing up, I was not that kid. I was never introduced to or encouraged to play sports or be adventurous, and everything would kill you. My culture is Hispanic, very Latina, very doom and gloom, and everything's gonna kill you, and that's it. That's all there is to it. So I kind of grew up terrified of everything. If everything wasn't going to break my face somehow, then it would kill me for sure. In recovery, I really do love adventure, and I find that I'm pretty rational about it. I approach it in a really rational way. And with my own kids, it was funny because we always thought that I'd be that typical, oh my God kind of mom, and my husband would be really chill. My husband is that, oh my God kind of parent. And I'm like, look, I know how I was raised, and I know how I grew up and what I grew up to be. I'm not going to make my kids afraid of the world, and I'm certainly not going to make my kids feel incapable. They are some of the most highly capable individuals I've ever met. Speaking of kids, something that surprised me about recovery was how difficult motherhood is going to be. Don't get me wrong, becoming a mom was well planned, well thought out. It's something I've wanted for so long. And it's not being a mom per se that is difficult. It's more the emotional stuff that it brings up, the trauma, the unhealed parts of you that begin to shine through. Our kids deserve the world. They deserve to be raised 10 times better than we were. And that's very much what my husband and I aim to do every single day. One thing that I have to remind myself, my kids aren't me. They're nothing like me. They are vastly different from the kid I was. And I can tell even now at 6 and 4 years old as they are right now, everything that I hope to be one day. They're my heroes. They're just the most brilliant, hilarious, kind, big-hearted, and aware humans I've ever met. And sometimes in recovery, we have to take a step back and really get a handle on the fact that just because we turned out to be addicts doesn't mean that our kids are destined for that. And we can't raise them as though that's our main goal in protecting them from. Our kids are their own people. They're going to be okay. Much better than I ever could have been. If you are on my Facebook or see pictures of my children at all, you'll notice that my son, he's 4, and he still has a passy literally in every picture and every video. It's too late for me to just yank it from him. Kids aren't going to have passies forever. Seriously, it's okay if he has a passy at 4 years old. Guaranteed, by the time he goes to kindergarten next year, he's not going to, because his peers won't have one. So I will say that he has it this late because I was so afraid early on in taking away that which he used to self-soothe. That happened to me. When I was 3, they tried to wean me off a bottle. Yeah, 3. Well, it didn't work. Didn't work until I was 5. No joke. And the way that it was done was that I was sat in a chair in my kitchen, and my parents took my bottles up on the kitchen counter, and they made me watch as they took a mallet and smashed them all in front of me. That was a little traumatic, like hella traumatic. So stupid. So left over from that, I became hyper aware of how important it is to self-soothe. So I let my son use that which self-soothed him, the passy. Obviously, 4 years later, I'm like, okay, I can definitely look back and see where maybe I could have integrated a little bit more wherewithal in trying to wean him off of it. But look, we're all going to make those little mistakes in parenting and in everything in life. So don't be too hard on yourself. Be able to recognize where you could have done better and just acknowledge it and move on. Recovery is hard enough. You deserve to have a really successful one. And part of that is being able to admit your failures and your successes and be equally as unbothered by both. Recovery isn't always easy, but as corny as it sounds, it is worth it.